Good morning, everyone. I hope you're doing well. Ooh, new day, new day, new day, new day. So excited to be here with you. I love these early morning hours, and I was telling somebody the other day that one of the reasons why I do it in the morning is because and before I like put on, anything or move or do whatever, is I get out the bed, I get up, I brush my teeth, I wash my face, and then I come to the computer and I just spend time hearing God. Good morning, Patricia. I spend time hearing God on what it is that I'm supposed to be talking about today. I really start the night before. I go to bed praying about it. But one of the things that I want to do in showing up like I do, like naked face, that's what they call this, is I want people to understand that going before him as you are is his true desire. He doesn't want us to come before him made up and all of that. I'm not talking about like if you have makeup on or whatever. I'm talking about a state of the heart. And so that's why I do this, right? Why I come on here and throw a ponytail in and do what I have to do. Um, and throw on my workout clothes. 'Cause I'm going to work out afterwards as well too. So why get dressed up and then I'm going to go work out? Y'all know y'all shouldn't work out with makeup on, ladies. That messes up your face. See how pretty my skin is? I take care of it. So, so give me a moment and I'm going to actually share this out. And if you don't mind sharing this out, we're going to be talking this morning about know, K-N-O-W, know your temptation, know what it looks like, right? Um, and it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. So share this out, and I'm gonna share it out as well. Let me turn my volume down and invite people to come join the conversation. All right. So we're talking this morning about know your temptation. And I'm coming out of 1 Corinthians 10:13 for that. As you hop on, can you say hello? And let's see if there's something I want to know this morning. Have you eaten yet? Have you had breakfast yet? If you've had breakfast yet, say, yep, I ate. If you haven't, say, nah. Super excited to be coming to you this morning with this scripture. I am Latara Vanique, soul care provider and the founder of Color Your Soul, where we help you to have necessary conversations around the stories of your life for mental and emotional balance. And this week, we're looking at our emotional state. We're looking at how we show up emotionally. And so one of the things that I was thinking about is what happens when we show up emotionally imbalanced, when we show up with all these negative things that we're not dealing with, when we show up um, um, not prepared, right? When we get to this space and we begin to become reactionary and not proactive. I talked about that yesterday, right? So what happens is the temptations that are before us, the things that cause us to do bad, the things that cause us to misbehave, the things that we grab hold to when we know we don't need it, right? Like that chocolate bar. Those things that are before us, right? That can easily cause us to fall. When we're not emotionally balanced, we will fall quicker for the temptation than we will the door of escape that God gives us. Because that's what First Corinthians talks about. First Corinthians 10:13, it talks about there being a door of escape. Every time there is a temptation, every time there is something there before us, God gives us an opportunity to escape. What keeps us from escaping? What causes us to get into a place of temptation? Because the temptation is one thing, but taking and grabbing that temptation and running with it is something totally different, right? Good morning, Angela. Thanks for joining. And so we've got to understand that your emotions and your thoughts partner together for your success or your demise. You will hear me say that often. I need to get a t-shirt for that. Don't steal my idea. And so if your emotions are off balance, your thought process will be off balance, and it will cause you to speak and to behave in ways that you think is not like you, but really, if you're not working on your stuff, it is you. People go, oh, that's not me, I don't do that kind of stuff. Well, you did it. You did it. So in that moment, your heart was inclined and prone towards the temptation because you did not take the time to know the temptation. That was the awareness I was talking to you guys about yesterday, being intentionally conscious of everything that's going on around you at any given time so that you are able to emotionally assess to be able to assess how you're feeling emotionally. Right? Good morning, Key. Thanks for joining. And so we've got to take that time to really say, okay, let me be emotionally aware of what's happening so that I know when temptation is before me. Because honestly, sometimes when you're in an emotional state of imbalance, right, you may not know what's before you. Right? Because let me tell you that emotional and mental capacity working together, it can wreak havoc on your next. It's why people are taking their lives in droves. It's so sad. I don't know if you guys know this, but I think it's every 128 seconds, I believe it is, someone is taking their life. Right? It's why we have all this narcissistic, anxious behavior happening because people are not knowing their temptations. They're not knowing their weaknesses. They're not knowing what can cause them to fall. So when you go through a moment of temptation and you give into it, you need to pay attention to it so that you don't go back into it again. You need to be aware of how and why I even got here. Right? So what does that look like, Latara? How do I assess this thing called my emotional state? And so that it can partner with my thoughts so that I'm making righteous decisions. Now, righteous just means walking in the way of God, right? Doing what's right, walking the godly way, the godly path. How do I do that? Because sometimes this stuff is really cray cray. Right? It was Adam's emotional state that caused him, and his emotional state messed with his thinking process, and it caused him to eat what his wife had told him was okay to eat, or manipulated him into eating. It was his emotional imbalance. He was like, let me just eat what my woman got because, I love this woman. And if I eat it, she going to treat me right. Right? So we got to pay attention. Had he been really aware and not allow himself to be enticed by temptation, allow him, if he had had his emotional state on track, right, then we'd be in this perfect world today, all walking around with no clothes on. Hey, that was the original state of how we were. The original state of how we were. Wow, right? So what do we do? What does this look like? And so I want to talk to you about a few of these things really quickly. The first thing we talked about awareness. You have to be aware. You've got to be aware of what's happening. Good morning, Cynthia. You've got to be aware of what's happening around you again at any given time. I teach people to practice intentional consciousness. Remember, we talked about the emotional stacking, right? Stacking that stuff down until it gets so deep into your subconscious that you begin behaving according to the stuff you're not dealing with. So you need to be aware of what's happening around you. Then the second thing you need to do is to seek. What am I seeking, Latara? You're seeking the power of the Holy Spirit to help you shift what's happening inside of you. So this is where prayer and meditation and reading the word will help you, right? It will help you, but there are things you have to do. So as you are doing that, you need to pray for God to reveal to you the trigger. What was the temptations? What was temptation's trigger? What caused me to give in to this thing? Because you got to deal with that. My need to feel loved and not feel rejected and to feel accepted, it caused me to get into a 10-year relationship. That was a temptation. It wasn't meant for me to be in. 10-year marriage. Catch what I'm saying here. Because temptation comes in all kind of ways. So you want to know your trigger. Pray and say, what is my trigger? See, because you're expected to deal with that. You're expected to understand what happened and why it happened so that you don't repeat it. Because if you don't deal with it, it's going to come back over and over and over again. I heard someone say the other day that you can heal quickly. You can heal quickly. You sure can. There are situations and issues you can heal quickly from. But with that healing comes some work. You know, after healing it's a process. You know how after someone has surgery and it takes time sometimes for those wounds to heal, right? It takes some time for those wounds to heal. And sometimes it takes a moment. So you got to get to that place, ladies and gentlemen, where you are paying attention to the trigger. And when you pay attention to it, you need to deal with it. Deal with that trigger. Different ways of dealing with it. It's different ways of dealing with it. And I'm going to be talking about that in my Boundaries Matters workshop. And I'll tell you guys about that in a moment. So know your trigger, deal with your trigger. And here's the thing too. Here's what you got to do, because you can know it and you can deal with it. But if you don't set boundaries around it, set some boundaries around. I'm huge on boundaries, but you got to set them in the right way. You must set your boundaries in the right way. They cannot be set from a place of anger. This is why I'm telling you to be aware and to seek and to know and to deal. Because if you seek the Holy Spirit, He's not going to teach you how to deal with it in an ugly way. He's going to teach you how to deal with the trigger in a loving way, in a sound way. Because see, God gave us a sound mind, not a crazy mind. He gave us a mind that can think properly. But we have to know how to get ourselves in that space of proper thinking, right? So you want to make sure that you're setting boundaries around that. And it's really important because boundaries are going to be key to how your mind and your emotions work together for your success or your demise. Because imbalance weakens you. But emotional balance gives you the strength you need to proceed. I did not mean to rhyme, but I did. Emotional imbalance weakens you, but emotional balance gives you the strength you need to proceed. You can pray all day, you can read a word all day, but if your emotions are not in check, you will still not know your temptations. You must know what tempts you. You must know your weak points so that you will know when to go through that door of escape that God provides each and every time. Do the work. Do the work. Do the work. I want to thank you guys for joining me this morning. I hope this was good for you. Remember, all of these devotions are placed over on YouTube. Super excited. Thank you guys who have subscribed. You have helped it go over 100 subscribers. YouTube likes that. It means I show up a little bit more. It also means it means some other stuff too, but I'm super excited that you all have decided to subscribe to the channel. If you have not, go over to the YouTube channel and find the Color Your Soul TV and subscribe. You also will see the link on the Facebook page all throughout the day to different videos we have over there. So just go check it out. Go and eat this stuff up, because like Cynthia said, this is good eating, y'all. This is good eating. So do me a favor and go over there and subscribe. And I want to invite you all. I put the link in to consider taking the Boundaries Matters workshop. It happens tomorrow night. The cost is $37. That is our beta pricing. Our beta pricing is $37 for the workshop. But if you sign up today, and I'm going to go in and extend the coupon. If you sign up today, you will get $7 off. 1 second, and let me give you the code. And the code is Takeover 2019. I'm going to go update the coupon today so that it extends itself until tomorrow morning. So there will be a replay. So if you can't make it, you'll have the replay. Now you won't have the breakout sessions, because there'll be 2 to 3 breakout sessions tomorrow evening, as I really help you guys to learn to design some healthy boundaries, not boundaries that are based on negative emotions, but boundaries that are based on the love of God and the kingdom flow. That's how we do this thing. So I want to thank you guys so much for joining me today. I appreciate you more than you know. Again, the link to sign up for the workshop is in the description. Make sure and share this out. Tell somebody else about this good stuff that's going on over here. I think these devotions are more, I'm trying to get some sound information that you can apply instantly. And so I appreciate you so much for joining me. I love you with everything that's in me. I'm super excited to see how just my simple act of obedience. I didn't decide to do this. I didn't decide to anyway, I didn't decide to do this. I literally, it was like God woke me up and was like, start doing devotions. And I was like, devotions, God? Start doing devotions. And he told me how to do it, and I did it. And I can tell you that my own walk, and I love you, Key. I can tell you that my own walk in this path of healing has taken me to a space with God where I'm so surrendered to him that I just go. Right? If he says do, I do. Within, some things I have to plan out. I'm not one to just, oh, there's an idea, let me run with it, because that's crazy. And so it's been a very interesting walk, right? Let's see. Clarissa said, is this available for teens? If you think that they're mature enough to take it, yeah. It's not, I don't have a boundaries class for teens because I don't have a teen section or part of Color Your Soul yet. That will not come until 2020 or 2021. I have to do things. I'm actually launching for millennials, specifically for millennials. And so that's going to be really good, but I'm working on that with my oldest son, and my youngest son will be kind of working on something for teens. I'm allowing both of my sons to kind of design it because they know the emotional state of the ages that of their generation. So I think Rayhan is Generation Z, something like that, Generation Z. So yeah. So I mean, if you think that your teen is prepared enough to sit in the class with some adults, sign them up, but thank you for the thought and the idea of actually having a Boundaries Matters for teens. That's a real good one. So anyway, you guys, I want to thank you for joining me. Look for this on YouTube. We love you. Bye-bye.